is KTN News.
Welcome back. Thank you for staying with us on Worldview. Of course, these are some of the international headlines as well. We'll be having a conversation about them with Trix Ngado in just a few minutes. But for now, President Obama used his speech commemorating the 15th anniversary of the September 11, 2001 attack on the U.S. to remind Americans that the country's greatest strength was its diversity. Obama, who spoke at the Pentagon, standing in front of a large American flag draped over the spot where a plane hit the building, urged Americans to reject those seeking to divide them. His address praised the military and paid homage to those who lost their lives in the New York, Washington, Pennsylvania that day. But it also carried a more pointedly political message.
Perhaps most of all, we stay true to the spirit of this day by defending not only our country, but also our ideals. 15 years into this fight, the threat has evolved. With our stronger defenses, terrorists often attempt attacks on a smaller but still deadly scale. Hateful ideologies urge people in their own country to commit unspeakable violence. We've mourned the loss of innocents from Boston to San Bernardino to Orlando. Groups like Al-Qaeda, like ISIL, know that they will never be able to defeat a nation as great and as strong as America. So instead they try to terrorize in the hopes that they can stoke enough fear that we turn on each other and that we change who we are or how we live. And that's why it is so important today that we reaffirm our character as a nation. People drawn from every corner of the world, every color, every religion, every background, bound by a creed as old as our founding, E pluribus unum. Out of many, we are one. For we know that our diversity, our patchwork heritage is not a weakness. It is still and always will be one of our greatest strengths.
Our diversity is our strength. That's a good point to bring in Trix Ngado. Trix, what do we have? Good morning. Good to see you.
Linda. So you'd expect the 9/11 memorial to be the biggest story on some of these papers, but now we're seeing it's Clinton's health risk that is the first story on the Washington Post. So the first headline is Clinton diagnosed with pneumonia before falling ill at 9/11 memorial service. So there has been...
Come on, she's a human being. She'll get sick.
Yeah, I know, it's normal. So I don't know why this is such big news, but a lot of papers are leading with this story. Because she's having pneumonia. But you know, even with the campaign, the kind of schedule some of these candidates have, it's really expected. And then the other day, there was a rally where she actually went into fits of coughing for a really long time. She couldn't even speak. But she made a joke about it. She said, every time I talk about Donald Trump, I get these allergies. So it was really funny. But at least she's humorous about it.
She has very good comebacks, though.
Exactly, yeah. So she was attending the memorial just seen on our screens, and then she got ill. They said she got dehydrated and overheated, and she had to be taken away. So she went to her daughter's house for a while, then later on went to her own place.
I think it's the hours, campaign, day in, day out, probably doing late nights and all that. I mean, it's crunch time for her.
Exactly.
So
we only have 8 weeks to the election, so these are the most busy.
need to
I hope
cut
she
her
can.
some slack.
Yeah, I know. I hope she can get. And a lot of the Republicans were saying, why are her party hiding her? She hasn't been in the limelight. So a lot of people
we are trying to get her to rest. Let me speak on behalf of the party.
The party. We're letting our mama rest as we wait for But some people are thinking that maybe they were just playing it cool and letting Donald Trump trip on his own steps. But apparently, it looks like they were right. She was not feeling up to.
No, but you see, I don't understand why this is the headline. She's a human being. She will get sick unless they just want to give this notion that she's not fit
for the
her health is not
alleging,
okay.
But still, I think it's a big story. But I don't know why the actual anniversary of the 9/11 bomb attack didn't take the first slot for the first story. Let's move down and see what the Washington Post is going with. And of course, there's another story here we are having. Let's move down and see she live streamed her boyfriend's death. Now her composure is tested again. So in July, Raymond Diamond, you remember the woman who was sitting with her boyfriend with the baby in the back while they were. He was shot and he was losing his life, and she was live streaming it. So there has been another incident. Let's scroll down and see what the Washington Post is saying.
And a lot of people are actually asking questions,
She became known nationwide as she calmly narrated live streaming footage after Minnesota police fatally shot her boyfriend, Philando Castile. Since then, she has felt the impact of that day every moment, and her composure has been tested again and again. So you can imagine someone who has been at odds with the police here. She actually showed what the police were doing, something that a lot of blacks have not had the courage to show, especially live on Facebook. So you cannot say it was edited or it was wrong or we're changing the story. So now she has to live her life after that, facing police officers, facing people who are not really for the Black Lives Matter.
But see, when she recorded that, there are people also asking, okay, reality when that happens, what first comes to your mind? Saving the life of the person you're with, or live streaming it?
Exactly. So, but there was a gun to her head, and so with a lot of the narrations, with a lot of the narrations that you hear, every sudden move you make, you get shot. So
you're better off just holding still with your camera and just
phone, rather than trying to make sudden moves that might get you shot also. So I think I understand her side of things.
Yeah,
and then there's
a gun to your head.
Protester here saying stop killing cops. So there are two warring sides, people supporting cops and people supporting victims of such incidences. So she's probably been caught in the middle of this whole
I strongly believe that this will end with gun control.
I think so,
Gun control, that's it.
Only if the Republicans easen up on their resistance to gun control. Because it doesn't mean that they're going to get the guns out of their hands. It just means there are going to be stricter rules on who can get guns and how to use them, and of course what kind of force
many lives to gunshots.
Should be used in certain circumstances, and just not going around shooting people. Then we are having Uber is going to launch a self-driving taxi. So no more drivers soon. So this has been tested in Pittsburgh for over the past few months, and they're just trying to get away with not having a steering wheel in the car. But there has been this debate whether they should keep the steering wheel in the car. It's self-driven. It will drive itself. So
wait.
It's a self-driving taxi.
It will drive itself.
So
no.
I thought you were happy about it.
No.
So there was this debate: should we remove the steering wheel or should we keep it? Because the people who are saying we should keep it, are saying will make people feel safe, and then give provisions that when something goes wrong,
if you get you get into a car that is self-driving and there's no steering, will you sit in it?
Yeah, but you see, if you don't put the steering in, they will make sure that there are no glitches. The system is perfect, so that we do not need the provision for someone to take the wheel. But
can you sit in that car?
That is exactly the other side of the argument, because they're saying to make people feel safe and that they can take control back, you need to put a steering wheel there, so that if something goes wrong, they can actually grab on it. And
it's okay, I'll drive my Probox.
So that's the whole debate. So the unprecedented experiment on the street street of Pittsburgh will soon begin, even though Pennsylvania has yet to pass basic laws about self-driving cars, raising alarm about safety. Experts who worry about using commuters as guinea pigs. So it's still just in the experimental phase. But soon we're going to, we have had the Uber chopper, so maybe this is another
chopper
first
I can do.
Yes, because you'll be sitting. This is too risky.
No.
This is it's too much of technology for a lot of people to handle. So we'll see how that goes. And especially with some streets, you know, with African streets, they're so unpredictable. I don't know how a self-driving car can manage our streets, but maybe in Pittsburgh, they're more safe.
Try doing that on Jogoro,
with the
Kitengela, Rongai.
No, there's no way you're going to sit there and wait for them to take control. Then you're having Michael Murray and Mike Vickers writing an open letter to Donald Trump. Just a fresh plate of condemnation for this guy and what he stands for. But does Trump
really care?
Does he care? Does he listen? He still goes on with the same things he's been saying. Then there's a deal that has been struck between the U.S. and Israel over the dispute with Lindsey Graham. Let's move on to
Can you move to the next paper, please?
See what's going on. We are having the Mail Online and how a stranger's £40 parking ticket cost a family their new home. Couple denied mortgage as last minute at last minute, as we reveal how lives are being ruined by country court judgments you know nothing about. So we're taking a look at some of the fines you're charged after some of these things that happen. Maybe it's a traffic ticket or your credit scores become really low. You cannot be able to get money just to pay your mortgages. So some of the financial implications that have to do with the court decisions just that are made out of, you cannot plan to get a traffic ticket. So it starts off as a small thing that just escalates into something that digs into your financial life and destroys everything.
But mortgages are just,
it's a whole other story.
That's another story.
Clinton's pneumonia bout is also taking right there. So you're having doctors reveal she has a lung infection just hours after AIDS blamed 68-year-old collapse at 9/11 memorial on overeating.
They need to leave her alone.
I know. I think it's pretty expected with the kind of schedule some of these candidates are having to deal with in this time of their campaign. It's the last
bring her to Masai Mara for a week.
To relax and just take the load off and relax. But with the kind of pressure she's going through, this is absolutely expected. I don't see anything really new. But maybe we're Clinton supporters. That's why we're...
No, I think there's no one on earth who's not supporting Hillary Clinton.
Yeah, but this is just being practical. I think, given the circumstances, it is allowed. But, Republicans are going to run away with this and say, you see, we told you she's not fit to be commander-in-chief. She's too weak.
She will get sick. Even if it's Donald Trump, he will get sick.
It gets to you. It takes a toll on you, all that campaigning. Then let's move on to The Guardian and see if they're leading with... Yes, they are. Hillary Clinton's health bout. So Hillary Clinton cancels California trip after pneumonia forces 9/11 ceremony departure. So she left midway. She was actually scheduled to do some fundraising events in the next 2 days.
Okay, maybe we don't get it. Maybe we need your girl to explain to us why this is a headline. Come on.
Yeah, and then of course, she was supposed to do a shoot with Ellen DeGeneres on Wednesday, so they've all been cancelled on that. Of course, she needs to recuperate and just get well. And then there's a case study that says poor communication is a symbol of Clinton's press problems. So, of course, they were trying to hide this just to make sure that she has her best foot forward in terms of looking healthy and well, even though she disappeared from the limelight for a few days just prior to this. Of course, they're saying the communication that they should have just been more truthful and said this is what's going on with Hillary Clinton before waiting for it to catch them.
See this opinion. Hillary had a bad weekend. The alternative is worse.
Is worse, yes. So,
yeah, she had a bad weekend.
Yes, she did.
I'll go with that one.
Exactly. And then the death toll from illness after 9/11. Oh, no.
The death toll from illness nears number killed
on that day.
9/11.
Exactly. And the other day we had a story on the kind of cancers people are suffering after 9/11. So when the bomb happened, the survivors, they were forced to inhale a lot of debris. There was a lot of smoke. There was a lot of, particles in the air. So people breathe, and also those who are trapped in the rubble, they had to breathe in a lot of this fumes. So after that, they're developing cancers. So you can take a look, almost 3,000 people died. So what this article is suggesting, the death toll has come up to 6,000 people, just following the after effects of that. And they're not just the physical ones, there's also the mental effects. The people are facing the psychological, the depression that comes out with that. So that's what's happening on that front with the 9/11 ripple effect. Then you're having U.S. urges Serbia, Slovenia to diversify energy sources. So, you know, there have been a lot of experiments with some people contemplating tapping into nuclear energy, but it hasn't been deemed safe enough because oil will be running out. Actually, some places like Saudi Arabia are now planning ahead just in case this huge source of revenue is tapped out. They can diversify into other forms of energy. And also there's the question of what is safe for the environment. We might, you know, coal was phased out a few years ago. Now oil and diesel, they're trying to find oils that are actually safe for the environment. We have these hybrids being brought up, and, you know, just vehicles that are going to make the environment really safe. So, of course, Serbia is being asked to just diversify their energy sources and find a way of using that's good for the environment, energy that's good for the environment. Then we're having the Huffington Post. Let's move on to the Huffington Post, the next paper right there. All a little ill, that's the headline. So Hillary Clinton apparently is a little ill, so that's what they're suggesting. So,
you see, like what Jesus said, if you know you've not sinned, be the first one to throw your stone.
Exactly, yeah.
We all get sick.
I know this is. I don't think it's a huge deal, but for a presidential candidate, there's a lot of mudslinging. So this is going to paint her in a way that she's a woman now. She's sick. You see, she can't even handle the office. You see, yeah. So this is no. They're going to try and no, that's not right. But they're going to try and use that to prove that she's not good enough for that office. And then you're having the Black Lives Matter. A lot of athletes are protesting, putting their fist up, just to show that a lot of racism is institutionalized. Racism is in the country. So every time there's a national anthem, you'll have some of these athletes, footballers, some of them refusing to stand up, some of them putting their fists in the air just to show solidarity with their fellow black people, saying that they do not feel that this is being dealt with by the government in the right way. So there has been, and a lot of people are these influential people, so they're using their money and their fame just to show people, because they're people of influence. Yes, exactly, to show that this is not right.
Okay, we are done. So at least we know what's making headlines in the entire world. We do know about Hillary Clinton, though it really doesn't make sense why everyone is focusing on her. Trix, you want to take this next intro?
Okay. Let's now update you on what's going on. A crisis of migrants entering Europe. At least 500 of them have been rescued by a Navy ship off the coast of Sicily. They have, in the last few minutes, arrived at the port of Augusta. Also recovered was the body of a young Somali